sometimes I may feel like I'm in the back burner,
Right.
but it's not really that. It's we're evolving as humans, which is what you're supposed to do.
Right.
So yeah, you're marrying the unknown, and you know, again, like, how do men deal with that? How do women deal with that? So
Right.
it's never a thing where it's just a one script, one blueprint. You're
Right.
continuously trying to figure things out, communication, and I want to have real conversations about how people deal with these things.
Yeah.
Today's episode is brought to you by Chula Wear, the largest provider of board shorts, bodybuilding trunks, and briefs in the world. Visit their IG at Chula Styles or their website, teamchulafitness.com.
All right, we back in the building. I'm your host, John Reese, Inside the Mind podcast, and I have another person I need redemption on. We'll get into that a little bit. I'm on my redemption tour, by the way, if y'all ain't noticed. I done interviewed a couple people, and I got a couple of them dropping soon, but I'm gonna actually call this redemption tour. But nah, this is my guy, man. He been competing for 6 years. Had one class win as an amateur. He turned pro at the 2020 Team Universe. This is when COVID was in and they moved it to South Carolina. This is the one time it was not in New Jersey. So yeah, that was a year I gained like 30 pounds after that show. Yeah, man. He's competed in 3 pro shows, man. And to my knowledge, he decided to take last year off, but I'm pretty sure he's still grinding. My guy, Joseph James, in the building. How you holding up, G?
I'm doing good, man.
And
Man, out the way, perfecting the craft, that's all.
Hey, that's all we can do, man. Let me ask you a question before we like really dive into it, because I've been talking to a lot of competitors about that space of like, okay, we always get the itch of wanting to, you know, go on stage, compete. That's just who we are. But taking that needed space off, what made you do it? And technically, you're still in it. So, like, how are you holding up with that?
Really what made me take space was just trying to work on improvements, things like that. But then life happened and it was kind of like, okay, I need to get things in order with my kids, my family, things like that. So that was kind of my focus, trying to grow my business as well. Because a lot of times we go into these preps when you first start and we don't realize how much of a load it is. So if you don't have things in line sometimes, you lose out on a lot of stuff. By the time you finish that prep, you kind of like, yo, I gotta do that a little different. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. That's what made me take the space, get my mind right, focus on business, family, and on top of moving out here to Florida. So it's much needed.
Oh man, I hear you, man. I just started prep literally at the top of this year, and I swear, bro, it's like prep knows, like, oh, you're in prep, okay, this about to happen. Oh, this about to happen, and this
Yeah.
about to happen. I'm like, yo,
Crazy
I'm,
how that works.
I'm talking to my wife last night at dinner, and I'm like, man, I don't know. She was like, don't start that. Like, you just started. I'm like, but it's just all this random stuff, and I'm like, yeah, you got to get through it at this point. But I mean, we'll see though, bro. But yeah, man, glad to have you on, my G. So, what actually got you started into bodybuilding? Since you've been in it for 6 years, that's a long time.
Yeah. What really got me started, I've always been athletic coming up. I boxed, played basketball, ran a little bit of track, like to work out with the football teams, things like that. But once I graduated, I kind of, I didn't really have nothing else to do. So I got into certain things, that, get in some trouble, and then you're like, all right, I gotta do something different. So actually my dad, I ended up moving back in with my dad, and he was like, Joe, it's a gym they just opened down the street. It was a U-Fit. So I was like, yo, I'm going. So I signed up, and from like, I think it was November 17th, 2017, if I'm not mistaken, was the first day I got into the gym. And I just been grinding ever since. And then the results I was getting, it made me like hungry for more. Like, what else can I do to challenge myself? And then I kind of just started meeting new dudes that was bodybuilding. I was like, yo, I want to do that. And I kind of been locked in ever since.
That's fire, bro. And then where was this at? when you found a new gym? Like what city,
This was
state?
in Richmond, Virginia.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
well, you out there in that DMV area. That's right.
yeah.
And so how'd you get from the DMV area to Florida, if you don't mind me asking?
I just happened to move. My daughter actually moved out here maybe a year or two ago. So she had left, but I had some things still going on in Virginia that I really wanted to work on, but
Okay.
it didn't work out. So I was like, all right, I'm going to move closer to my daughter. So that's kind of how.
Man, I went to Virginia. What year was this? This was way before bodybuilding. This is when I went out there for like a therapy seminar for to get one of my certificates for clinical counseling. And
Okay.
it was like February, bro. And I'm like, I packed the coat in my bag, like just in case. I'm from Cali, bro. That East Coast weather, y'all can have all that.
Yeah, it's
It-
different.
So right now in Cali, I'm mad. It's so damn cold out here right now. I got off that plane, bro. I was like, oh hell no, I'm digging through my current. I'm like, man, where my pea coat at?
It's a
Like,
different,
it is different,
and
bro.
it's a painful cold too. You like
Yeah,
this
because y'all
hurt.
get that wind chill, bro. I can't. No.
Ears be frozen.
So
You better not have a fresh cut. Head
how
gonna
are
be.
you adjusting being down there in Florida?
It's actually going pretty well.
That's
It's
good,
almost
man.
like I'm supposed to be here. Um,
Hey,
it's like the like support and it's just I don't know. It's me. It's me. It's
I hear you.
good. So I'm loving it so far.
That's good, man. You and a few people I know has made that transition to Florida, and I kind of get like the same answer. Like, man, it's just different, but I like they love it. So
Yeah, it's
that's
really
what's up,
mean.
man.
I
So,
think.
all right, my guy, I want to get into the year you turned pro.
Okay.
So that was your only national show, right?
Yeah, that was my only national show I did.
Let me explain something to y'all about because my guy's quiet, like assassin, like quiet,
I'll be out the way.
assassin, like quiet. So I'm fresh off of North America's, and I placed fifth. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna just go, like whatever. I got like 8 weeks to get ready. So we backstage pumping up, and my guy's like, he's like tucked like in a corner somewhere. And the main thing I noticed was his portions, bro. Like you have one of the smallest waists ever. And I'm like, yeah, it's gonna be a long night. And I'm telling who else is there? John, my guy John, because he had finished
Mhm.
third at North America's. He was like 1 point away from his pro card, and he was like, man, it's gonna be me and you. And I told him, like, I don't know, dog. Like, I don't know, but it is funny. Take me back to your experience, bro. Cause like again, like people could either walk in at nationals like, yo, this is too much, or you can walk in like as a complete novice and be like, well, it don't matter. It's my first time. Whatever happens, happens. Like, tell me your experience.
Man, I really, if I remember, I went into that show and I was really comfortable. I
Mm,
was I was I was feeling good. It was the best I ever looked, and I just was like, I'm here. I did the work, and I won't think about anybody else. I had a couple of my homeboys I knew backstage. I was more so attentive to them
okay.
because getting their mind right than I was myself because I just felt comfortable. I was like, all right, this it. And then man, getting on the stage and seeing the judges react and just kind of going backstage, and I'm like, yo, this might be good. This is good. But even after the show, it didn't hit me. It didn't hit me that I went pro. I was like still just I was hungry. I'm tired.
Man, look.
You know, I'm hungry. I'm ready to go get some food. So it ain't hit me until probably like a couple days later when I was like, nah, I'm really a pro now. Like this is crazy. So
Yeah, you did that, bro. That show had me hot. I ain't gonna lie, bro. Cause we was on stage for probably only like 5 minutes. I ain't gonna lie, I watched that video a lot just cause that show fueled me into actually getting my pro card next year. But I remembered like vaguely, bro. Like you was now that I know how judging works, they
mhm,
had you picked from the gate. Cause if you recall, you was in the third spot for like 4 minutes.
mhm.
And then it was me and then whoever finished second, which I don't even want to get into that. but whoever finished second, and they kept switching me and him. And I'm like,
Uh-huh.
what? And I was like, okay. So then at the last minute, they switched me and you and moved me to the third spot. So I
I
was
do
like,
remember that.
I don't get it, bro. So my hotel, I didn't stay at the host hotel. I stayed it was like a 10-minute walk. So I'm walking. My coach was like, what the hell happened? And I was like, man, I don't know. Like I was
Yeah.
in first and then I got moved to third. And then at this point in time, everybody's blaming stuff on Tyler. I was like, it's Tyler. It's all Tyler's fault. Like, and I'm
Right.
like, yo, so we get back and I'm like, okay, maybe it's second, maybe it's not. But it ended up being that I placed third. And
Mhm.
then you ended up being first. And then I can't even remember the dude's name who placed second, but I got a phone call literally right when I landed and got home. And they was like, yo, the scorecards is out. They sent it to me and it says I lost by 1 point. Bro, the plane had just landed, bro. I'm cursing on the plane. Like I was like, what the so, but long story short, bro, you cleaned it, bro. Like, and I noticed it backstage because I had never seen at that point in time the ratios you had from shoulder to
Mhm.
waist. That was it was ridiculous. Like your front pose is better than people's front pose when they turn their hips. So
Mhm.
like your front pose is on, but yeah, I went into a eating slumber after that, dog.
Bro, it's crazy. I can't remember. It's like once the adrenaline was hitting, I just forget about stuff. So I'm like, now that you explain it, I remember that they did have me in that one spot the whole time. And then they finally moved me over, and that's when it was like, oh shoot.
Yeah,
It was
so when I talk to yeah, my fault. When I talk to judges, when they do that, it's like, okay, we know he's first. We
Mhm.
just have to compare like these two are too close. So that's why we kept having to turn and turn and turn. But at that point in time, I'm like, oh, I got it. Like they're not really
Mhm.
moving me out of first and second. But yeah, little did I know. Boy, when I I went to some soul food spot after that, I ate that. You know, they had the cookie lady there. I ate them. I had McDonald's the next morning. That's how pissed I was, bro.
Yeah.
I don't recommend nobody doing that. Please do
Yeah, yeah.
not do that. So, man, I want to ask about that too. Has there ever been, whether it's in off season or even during season, where like the losses, the lessons, like how do those impact you mentally?
The losses, I think one of the biggest losses that actually impacted me was when I was competing in the OCB as a
Mm,
natural athlete. Because one of my last shows with them, I actually was the best competitor there. So my homeboy, a good friend of mine, he placed over me, and it's nothing against him, but I still believe I was, supposed to win that show. I don't know why what happened. That impacted me. I was like, yo, I'm never competing in this organization again because it just felt unfair to me. So that impacted me. But really, from that point forward, I never had a situation where I didn't place like top two or top three until I turned pro. So it kind of was like I was satisfied and I was grateful for that. And I just knew I'm coming harder next time, you know.
okay.
So yeah, after my first show was the only time I actually ate a lot. And that was just out of me being excited to eat food. But I'll never do that again. I was sick. I was sick for a
I,
couple of days.
yeah, who you telling, bro? I think I just learned how to handle off season, literally, and it's been I'm in year 5 now.
Yeah,
Like,
it takes time.
it's just
You
it
gotta
takes
figure it
too
out
much time. Yeah,
because you be home so long.
bruh, my wife bakes, like, every weekend, you be seeing it on IG, bro, like
Yeah.
like, I go through this every weekend, bro, it's crazy, but so how was your transition going into the pros? Because you've been placing high this whole time, and likewise to me, like my pro debut was like which I'm coming this year to hopefully kind of erase that,
Mhm.
that sour taste in my mouth. But how was your transition into the pros, knowing that you're pretty much starting all the way back down at the bottom?
Mhm. Um, my transition was pretty good. Because I had a lot of support from the pros. I was cool with a couple guys. So I would reach out to them, they'll give me motivation, tell me I look good, I'm supposed to be here, stuff like that. So it felt like I was supposed to be there. And sometimes, honestly, me starting from the bottom gives me more drive. It gives me another ceiling to reach. So I'm like, let's do it. You know what I mean? But I definitely learned quickly that the pros are completely different. You you
Man.
gotta be ready when you go up there because it's top. It's everybody's getting on stage and everybody looks good. So it's like you gotta be on point, man. And I noticed one thing with me is my back. I gotta bring my back up, because it's
Hey,
them.
that's a strong suit for you too, which is crazy.
Yeah, right. Them dudes, it's different. That's definitely what you'll learn quickly. Like, okay, even though I transitioned pretty smoothly, but they pros for a reason. You know what I mean? We pros for a
Yeah,
reason.
man. I think that's the biggest thing that I learned. It's like nationals, right? You'll go in, there'll be like 30 people per class.
Mhm.
But I've done up to that point, that was my third one. So I always say, okay, there's 30 people, but only 10 to 15 may be hitting like that. So
Mhm.
you kind of have like that cushion in a sense. Nah, my pro
Yeah.
debut, boy, it got ugly quick.
You gotta have a
So
game.
yeah, and then it didn't help that I was like severely flat in my chest the morning of trying to bring that back up, and it was just like, but like you learn, like, okay, those little things you try to sneak, oh, I can get away with this, I'll still be conditioned. Like, nah, everyone's conditioned just about.
Yeah.
So you got to be on point. So that was like the biggest thing I learned in that. Yeah, man, everyone's trying to get that Olympic qualification. There's no points, there's no nothing. Like they don't care what it is that you got going on. Oh, my man froze. We're gonna get him back in though. We're gonna get him back in just a second. Hold on. Yo, Joe, if you hear me, leave out and come back in if you can hear me. And I'll keep it running. Don't even trip. All right, my guy just stepped out for a second. We're gonna see if we can get him back in. But man, dope dude, man. Met him again in 2020. We stayed in touch for a minute. Again, we both took off last year just to pretty much try to gather life, man. So can't knock him for doing that. And that's what it's all about. Like we gotta mentally stay intact. Bodybuilding is hard as it comes, like with any sport. Sports is hard in general, but bodybuilding is selfish, man. But that doesn't stop life. So you still gotta figure out, parenting, like he said, moving, significant others, family, like all that stuff, you still got to figure out in the midst of trying to prep. So, salute to him for, making that move, and hopefully he gets back on stage this year, and, we'll see how it go. So let's see if we can get my guy back in here real quick. All right, I think I see him. You good?
Yeah, I don't know what just
All
happened.
right, you good. Don't worry. I did. This happens. It's been happening often. Trust me.
I'm like, yo, what
Or
the
that's why I tell people make sure they service good, because sometimes we don't control the internet, bro. Sometimes it'll just zap out.
yeah.
But the first time it did it, I was like, oh, I lost everything. I don't know what I'm doing. So now I
Dang.
just learned how to either pause the whole recording, or I'll just like start highlighting you and doing commentary till you come back in, man. So it's all good.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Like, I hope that don't save because I don't know what just happened.
But yeah, man, I want to dive into you seem to be someone who's very, logical, in tune with their mental health, in tune with, their emotions, their body, and how they feel and stuff like that. What are the pros and the cons you feel bodybuilding plays on your mental health?
um, so cons definitely would be just like anxiety, stress, overwhelming, consistent, like always being like hard on myself and things like that mentally, and always feeling like I may not look good enough, or whatever else I may not be doing great here. So it's kind of like those would be the cons of it that make it difficult because you hungry. It just amplifies everything. So that's why I say focus so much on mental health, because whatever issues you have, well, I won't call them issues, whatever like traumas or things you need to work on, they amplify. So it's much worse, and then you really notice them and the people around you notice them. And some pros, it brought that out of me. So it made me have to go back and say, hey, this is affecting my loved ones around me. Those are the people I want to make sure I keep, because this is something I just like to do. You know what I mean? So if this ever was to go away, they'd still be there. You know what I mean? So that's what made me kind of invest more into being better on myself mentally, and working on those traumas and making sure I can stay consistent with my family and outside of things like that.
Man, that's a dope perspective, bro. Cause again, like it took me a minute I got so caught up in like chasing the pro card that I was forgetting everything and everyone that had propelled me to that stage of life. You see what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like, cause you get so engulfed in the chase and what comes of it and your body changing. And also, like you mentioned, the cons, you get so entrenched in the fact that okay, I need to look like this, and if I don't, I got to keep doing it. You start doing two a days for no reason. You start doing all this
Mhm.
extra cardio for no reason because you think that's going to make this difference in your head. When in actuality, that's what your coaches they have the game plan for you. If
Right.
you follow it, you'll get to where you want to get to. But again, like we're so critical on ourselves. That's the main con that I take from that. Like I became overly critical of
Mhm.
myself, and I've never been like that. So has that been a scenario for you too?
Yeah, for sure. As
Man,
bodybuilders in general, we get overcritical of ourselves because we want to look a certain way. We want to win. You know what I mean? Even in the off season, when I'm getting fluffy, I'm like, "Yo, you gotta figure this out, bro. You
man.
you getting crazy."
Ah,
so so it's like, man, I'm still overcritical of myself, but I'm learning how to kind of be like, you know what? Stop. You love it. Just do it. Enjoy the process.
yeah, I hear you. I think the weight cap is gonna help because now I can't just be like, whatever, I can lose it later. And
Mhm.
then when you looking at it like, yo, you gotta chill out. But like I'm telling you that
Yeah.
after 2020, from the because my birthday was 2 days later. That show was November, no, 4 days later. That show was November 14th. So I
Mhm.
told you all the stuff I ate the night of, the morning of. I got home, my wife cooked, and then I went to this place called Griddle Cafe. And then so all the way from the morning I got home, November 15th, to December 24th, where we did like this Christmas Eve event in my house. So, dog, that's 5.5 weeks, bro.
Mhm.
When I tell you it was 35 pounds, I had the nerve to take my shirt off to take a picture. It was like, oh, never again.
Yeah, and it happened quick,
Bruh, quick.
and
And
it
it's
be
funny,
slow.
bro. Man, it's so funny. I go through and I keep pictures on my phone, bro, because I, again, like everything I was eating, like, oh, I'm taking a picture of this. Like, let me get a picture of this. And then, like, so I go through the pictures, like, yo, you was out of pocket, bro.
Getting out of control.
Yeah, out of control. But we reel it in, we look at ourselves, and it's just like, all right, enough is enough. You
Mhm.
wish it doesn't get to that point, and that's where the discipline that switch. I hate that term, but we have the ability to turn it off and turn it on, which
Mhm.
I'm very grateful for. But how often do you rely on that switch though?
Discipline?
Yeah. Is that switch always on? It's like, oh, I could turn it off when I turn it on because I play with it too much a little bit
Mhm.
before turning pro. Now it's like, no, that switch needs to always be on. I need to always rely on discipline.
Mhm. Yeah, for sure. My discipline switch will always be on because it just has to be, because I'm not always motivated. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
even now, because I'm not competing, it's like sometimes I lose motivation, but I gotta be disciplined and get in there and do what I have to do, because at the end of the day, I'm still a bodybuilder and I still want to compete and be competitive. But yeah, so that never turns off for me. My attention may go to something different for a little bit. Like right now, I'm more focused on coaching and just getting settled in out here and being able to do this full time. So as far as competing, that's not really what my mindset is 100%, but I'm still locked in. I'm still cooking on Sundays. I'm still training, doing cardio and things like that. So I'm still doing what I got to do. My focus just shift a little bit.
Okay. And then you mentioned as far as, the reasons for you, moving down south and getting to Florida and, the changes you went through, um, the balance and then the selfish act that, bodybuilding, brings to us. Like we have to be selfish. So two-part question is how do you deal with being having to be selfish when you have to, take away time from your family or whatever it is that you want to do as far as outside of the sport, and how do you find that balance for yourself?
Um, so it's almost like now I'm in a position where, yes, I know I have to be selfish when it comes to competing in bodybuilding, but I'm now trying to put myself in a place where I can't necessarily be that way. So
Mm,
even my last prep I did for Tampa, I still invested in family as if I was not on prep, because I knew I gotta stay disciplined and do this as much. And but I still did what I had to do. Well, I had to go to the gym late at night. I'm still gonna take the kids to Busch Gardens or whatever, and I'm gonna knock out some cardio in the front room on a treadmill. I just try to make things better. Because I know I've lost a lot. I've lost a lot of good people being selfish, and I've put myself in some positions being that selfish for competing, to where afterwards I'm like, yo, I gotta dig myself out this crazy hole right now. And
man.
sometimes that take a while to get out of. So it's like you just gotta balance it, especially when it comes to family. You gotta know that it's just as important, because this is a hobby. This is my love and passion. But then I got kids and stuff like that. So
Today's episode is brought to you by Chulaware, the largest provider of board shorts, bodybuilding trunks, and briefs in the world. Visit their IG at Chula Styles or their website, teamchulafitness.com.
Yeah, man. That's why as competitive as we both are, man, it's like, okay, it's dope. Like if you win a show or if you place top five or hey, you qualify for Olympia, Lord willing, like all that stuff. But I refuse to get caught up in that chase the way I got caught up in that pro card chase because I left plenty people behind during that chase. And some willingly was like, you don't support anyway, so it's just whatever. And
yeah.
others are just like, yeah, I kind of wish I wasn't so invested like that, because then you look back and be like, okay, they could have easily came along in the journey, but it was just me being me at that time. So
Mhm. And that's kind of how we are as men. When we locked in on some, we locked in. Like nothing else can matter sometimes. But you also like once you get used to it, you kind of get in the mindset like, nah, I got to make sure I'm still handling all my business, because this is all priority. You know.
yeah, man, it's a good thing you said that, because usually I say 2 days out of the month, like I try to organize like these date nights with my wife. So when I get in prep, I'm like, those go to the wayside. But I'm not doing that this prep. I refuse to not acknowledge her or
Hmm.
make sure she's a part of this journey. So no matter what we do, we go out, I'll find something to eat.
Hmm.
That ain't, and that's just from years of like, okay, if I go to a restaurant, I can touch this. Hey, make this, don't put this on it, whatever the case is,
Right.
stuff like that. Because before it used to be, no, I can't go. I gotta do this. Or if I go, I'm bringing this orange container,
Yeah.
and everybody,
And the water jug.
and then the water jug, and then family get mad, wife get mad. But yeah, who told me this? I think it was Antoine. Yeah, he was like pretty much bodybuilding needs to revolve around your life, not the other way around. Like
Mhm.
it needs to be in addition. Like the stage is always gonna be there. And
Mhm.
that's why it was initially last year, it was hard for me to take that year off, bro. Like, especially the schedule come out. I'm like, well, man, we on. Like, where are we going? I'm texting you like, man, I'm going here. Like, hey, you see,
Yeah.
yeah. Like, has it been? I know you've probably adjusted at this point in time and having this time off, but was it initially hard for you to take that time off?
Yeah, it was. So once I finished the Tampa Pro, I could tell I needed to take a break.
Mm,
My body wasn't even responding how it should have. Like I did DC Pro 8 weeks prior to Tampa. I was
mhm.
187 at DC. I went to Tampa. I was 200 pounds on stage. I looked good, but I just knew I was like something's. My body is like, yo, we need a break because you've been going hard all year. Like we need some time off. So initially, I felt like, all right, I needed that time, but then it started to get hard because it was more shows coming up. I'm like, yo, I'm hungry. I want to get back out there because I did better than I did at DC. So it's always hard. Like I even had a little moment when I moved down here. I was ready. I'm like, I'm ready to get back on stage. Like,
Man, look, and you in Florida where it's starting to become bodybuilding heavy out there
mhm,
right now. Like
yeah,
I know I know Alex been out there. I know my guy John just moved out there. A lot of people are moving their businesses out there, which I think is dope. I wish I stayed out there, but
yeah. Ben moved
yeah,
out here recently.
yeah, see? So you get that sun all the time, boy. Don't let no hurricanes hit you. I'm telling y'all right now, though.
Hey, soon as I
Uh,
moved down here, the first week a hurricane hit. Like they had us.
Word?
Yeah, I was like, man, I'm finna go back because I ain't know what to do. I ain't know what to do. I'm like, I ain't used to this. The natives like, oh, we good. I'm like, man, I'm going.
Nah, that ain't it.
Yeah, you ain't gonna tell me this. I don't know what's going on.
Nah, that it's funny you say that because when people come out here and they was like, nah, y'all got earthquakes, man. It ain't even what you think. Like whatever you see on the news, but I say the same thing when y'all get storms. Like, I ain't going out there.
Yeah,
Y'all tripping.
ain't what I'm used to. I'm nah,
And that
stay out
is
here.
not what I'm used to, man.
Yeah.
So in the long run, what future plans do you have at this time? Is it this year? Are you taking another year off? Like, where is your mental headspace regarding the time off that you taken, and what's the plans for you?
So mentally, I'm definitely ready, but I know what it takes to get on that stage, and I know how long it takes. So honestly, I'm looking forward to competing in 2025.
Gotcha.
I'm gonna take this year to make some major improvements, simply because, like you say, the weight cap's out now. I was 216 here before I moved here when I moved here in like August. So I'm like, my weight's pretty high and I still got improvements to make. So my weight ain't gonna do nothing but get higher. So I needed to kind
Yeah.
of balance that out and take a period of time where I'm like, okay, let me pull back a little bit, then take this whole year to slowly build. And then next year I'll be ready to go. Cause from what they telling me, I just need to bring more density and conditioning in my back. So
Yeah, that's all you need, bro. Like I know what I saw, bro. My eyes don't deceive me. And you know how who am I trying to think? Potvin. You know
mhm.
how like soon as somebody it's like, dude, like why is his waist that small?
Yeah,
But you're only looking at his waist. If you look at everything else, that's what's really making his waist small.
yeah,
And that I get that from you. And that's exactly what I seen backstage in 2020. That's what I was like, yeah, it's gonna be a long night, dog.
yeah. People ask
Because
me all the time how I get my waist like that. I'm like, I didn't do anything. It's genetic. That's just
yeah, well, yeah, you're gifted in that aspect
yeah.
too. But it's just funny, bro, because like you have some of the roundest shoulders like in the pro league now. So like I can just imagine you having this additional time off to really perfect that.
Mhm,
And that's on it, like, okay, so I'm in prep now too. And something is telling me like push through. And then there's another part like, yo, I can wait probably till August and September because I feel like I made the changes that they needed me to make that they
mhm,
requested, which was bring my chest up. And then again, like the density and the conditioning, it all just comes with time, bro. Like you're not gonna get density overnight. Like that's not the way that works. That's just continuous time under tension and pounding the pavement. So I salute you on your patience for that. I'm itching right now, bro.
I feel like you there, man.
I,
Seriously. I feel like you there. I be looking at I've looked at something recently you posted. I don't know if that was old or not, but I was thinking like, yo, bro, look good. Like, I don't know whether this new or what.
look, if it was I've been going into the archives a lot and comparing it to now. So if it was like me doing like cable flies, that was from last 2022's prep going
Okay.
into my pro debut. But it's funny because at that point in time, I felt like I looked like ass, bro. Like and that's the problem. Like, and I'm gonna just speak for myself, like, especially like when it comes to my back, like again, being overly critical. Like you'll have like how you told me like you thought I looked good. My coaches say that, and I'm just like, man, I don't know, because you're so busy. Like you don't have nothing to do but compare to people who are winning. I'm not comparing myself to anyone per se, but people who are winning have these attributes in a sense.
Mhm.
So that's
Right.
what you're comparing it to. So like when I do these check-ins, I'm just like, man, I don't know. And that's all I keep saying is just like, we just need to get back to work. I try not to get too much into myself, like, okay, we right on time, we hitting. Like, I don't even try to do that because I always feel like it's more work to do. So I
Mhm.
guess like that's me being a prisoner in a moment. Like, how important do you feel it is like when you're actually doing your check-ins to actually embrace the fact that you know what you are progressing and you're doing great, or should you always keep the mentality, nah, we still got more work to do, keep going?
So it's a balance there. And this is something I even have to go over with my clients. You have to like celebrate the small wins. Like if you look better, you look better. So celebrate that. That doesn't mean we don't have more work to do, but don't get so wrapped up in the work you have to do that you don't even congratulate yourself for what you've done. Because honestly, that can really put you in a mental hole, and you'll never feel like you anywhere. Even when you are at the top, you'll still have that same mindset that
Oh,
I have so much more to do, and sometimes it can become unhealthy and put you in a position where now you're harming yourself. You know what I mean?
it's definitely unhealthy, bro. And even I've gotten way better. Don't It's just one of those things where it's just like that sour taste I got from my pro debut. I don't ever want to feel that again. And I feel like that could have, again, like it's a pro debut, but I was up there with, I think it was like 7 Olympians that day.
Hmm.
Like
It's hard to avoid that now. We pro.
man, like the nerve of me thinking I was about to go in there and do something, but that's just me. Like I
Mhm.
want to do great. I put all that pressure on me, and it just is what it is. So now I'm really just I focus more on the process now more so than okay, April 27th, this is when I'm supposed to go up or whatever. I can't wait to get there. I don't even necessarily look at the date. It's just like, all right, what do I need to do Sunday night? Do I
Mhm.
need to hit cardio again? Should I hit push-ups? All right, no. Should we focus on rest? Like whatever that's been like my focus more so this time. So man, but I had a conversation with another judge and they talked about the whole body dysmorphia thing. So
Mhm.
my question to you is what percentage of people in bodybuilding do you feel has body dysmorphia and why?
Personally, I feel like probably all of us,
Okay. Good answer.
probably every single one of us has body dysmorphia. And I think it's just the simple fact that first of all, we competing in something where we have to look better than everyone else. Like that's what we're here to do. Try to look better so we can win. So and then you look at yourself and you just find these weak points and you never satisfied. And I sometimes that just comes from not accepting where you are, like in the moment, and accepting
Mhm.
that. I'm putting in the work and I look good. Like I've done the work. I've done all the work I can. Like this is what it is. Like I'm accepting this, and this is me. Because even now, I still have body dysmorphia. Sometimes I look at myself now because, I might be right now. I'm in a place where I ain't running PDs, so I got like, you know. But I'm like, dang, I wish I looked like this. But I just know, you know what? I'm doing what I got to do this season to get where I'm going. So I focus on that.
That's tough, bro. Cause like you mentioned, like I've done all the work and I have to accept the fact that whatever I did just may not be good enough. How do you handle that part? Cause that was a bothersome part to me too. It's just like, man, I did all this just to place whatever. And then
Mm,
again, that was me putting emphasis on the placing, which I'll never do again. But to know that I did all this work to have a judge say, you weren't good enough today.
mhm.
Like, how do you handle that?
Um. So I also look at the sport we compete in. Our sport is also a lot of time. Like it's how much time you put into it that makes you better and better. So it's like you can put in all the work you want to this year, but it's all in how long it takes your body to adjust to what you're doing, how long your body takes to grow, how long your body takes to get conditioned. And that's what I try to focus on. Cause yes, I've done the work and I've still placed last, but this guy also has been doing the work for 30 years prior than I have. So I know it takes some time. Everybody I compete with is 30 plus. Like I'm only 26. So I'm looking at it like this is a time game. You have to take your time and invest in it consistently. Like so that's what I try to focus on.
And my boy dropping gems. Y'all better listen. Look, that whole time, and I swear I have a client, and and he's gonna listen to this, and he knows I'm talking about him, so it is what it is. I'm telling him all the time, because again, like that chase, like
Mhm,
he's. You remember the first show you did? The very, very first show you did. You've been athletic, but the very, very first show you did, and you seen your body, and you was like, "Bro, what is this? I ain't
mhm.
never looked like." You couldn't keep your shirt on, probably, because I
Yeah,
know I couldn't keep mine on. Like
yeah, I
that.
know. I know how it is.
Look, that's him right now. Like every workout, shirt off, no matter what. And, because even in the off season, he still looks good right now. So
Okay.
he got his first taste of nationals, and now he's like, man, I want it, I want it, I want it. And I'm telling him, like, look, you don't want to bring that same body back to stage. I knew exactly what the judges were going to say. Like, these improvements may take a little bit more time than you think.
Mhm.
And it's just like, man, but I'm competitive. I just want to go. I just want to go. I just want to go. So, and it's funny because it's like, okay, I can see me in him. Like, I get it. Like,
Yeah.
I totally get it. But now you put the coaching hat on, and it's just like, look, I understand what you're going through. And I feel like sometimes I'm like, man, would I even tell myself this? Probably not.
Exactly.
Like, so how do you deal with clients like that? Because I know you have a couple, bro.
So I gotta do that. I gotta be coached. I gotta let them know, yo, this
Yeah.
takes time. I've had to pull clients back in shows, and then I understand how they gonna feel mentally. They gonna feel a little down here and there, and I just validate it. It's okay that you feel that way. I get it. I'm a competitor. I've been there, but just trust me. And once they trust you and they move forward, then they see, oh man, I look 10 times better. I'm glad I waited this time, but it just takes you just gotta get there, you know? You just gotta get there first. It ain't like I can like, oh, it's different. It's like you gotta actually just trust me and get there, you
That's
know,
it, bro.
and then you'll see.
That T word, trust, man. It was so funny. He posted, yeah, man, waiting on my coach to pull the plug on this cutting, man. Everybody just want to cut. And I'm like, he was like, yeah, I think we got like 4 or 5 weeks. So I laughed. I was like, yeah, try like 8 to 12. And he was like, what? Like, bro. And I told it, I laugh about it because I'm like, yo, that is literally me. Like, I
Mhm.
just want to cut and get to whatever's under this fat, I just want to get to it, but you don't want to risk putting that same body back on stage, bro. Like you just don't want to do that. And sometimes it takes, like you said, it takes a lot longer to build the body. That's what the sport we're in is bodybuilding. Like you have to build it and you have to mentally be prepared for the long game.
Mhm.
And that was one thing I did not understand. Like, dang, like how these dudes get all this vascularity and all this other when I was paying attention to everyone on social media. And then it was just like, oh, wait, you've been training for how long? 15
Right.
years? 20 years? Oh, wait, I just started in 2019? Never mind.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I got a
That's how it is.
long way to go.
And once you realize that, you still got the same mindset, like I want to get there, but you kind of pay attention a little more. You're like, hold on, man, these dudes been doing this for so long. I'm trying to compare myself to them. I'm just starting. Like
Man,
I'm fresh.
yeah, and that's the one concept I got last year taking that time off. Like, all right, I'm not gonna because my favorite athlete is Chiron. And it's just like, dude, you've been training for so damn long. No
Mhm,
wonder why you look like that. Yeah. And then he'll tell a story like he wasn't winning like that in the beginning.
mhm.
Like it took forever. And but Instagram and make you think like they've been winning forever, or you get the anomaly like Banks just come in and just wiping the league clean. Ain't nobody doing that, bro.
That's every once in a blue moon.
Yeah, like
You don't
so
see people post them times when they losing and placing last. You don't see that too often.
no one's gonna post that, bro. I don't even post it.
Right.
It's
I
like,
might talk about it, but I don't like to sit here and say, "Yeah, I placed last."
yeah, like who
Like,
that sound crazy. No one's gonna talk about that, bro.
it's
But
worse in the pro league when you got that 16, but everybody got 16s. You like, dang,
yeah,
I'm
I ain't gonna lie,
fresh.
bro. I if I ever see that number again, I better be in the Olympics.
Oh, for
That
real.
number is nasty, bro. Cause like, okay, so you came in first in your class as an amateur, you go to your first national show, boom, first, you knock it out the park. Damn near probably won the overall, probably. I was probably out of there eating whatever I was eating at that time. But, like all you kept seeing was one next to your name, one next to your name, and you go on the pros and you place in top 10, top 15, like whatever. Like
Mhm,
it was the same thing for me. Like first national show, 6'5", 3, and 6'5", 3, and then one, and then like a 16, bro. Like everyone knows what that means, bro. And it's like, yo, that is
just
nasty.
take that off. Don't even put that right there beside my
Man,
name.
for real. And then it'd be a bunch of them too. Like, okay, at least am I like the top one?
Right,
Or
am I well met on the job. Ain't no way we all the same.
like, yeah, I can't, bro. So that's definitely my motivation. No matter if I do go up this year or not, I do not want to see that number. So that's what I'm working for. If I get even if I place 15, all right, that's better than what it was. And then
Mhm,
14th, with so on and so forth. I'm cool with that. As long, like you said, as long as we're getting better, you have to accept that part.
mhm.
And that's really what it is. But one of the last questions I want to ask before I get you out of here. What does mental health mean to you? And how important is it within the sport of bodybuilding?
Uh, Mental health to me, it means a lot simply because I've been in some low places. Um, and I know how it feels to not know what to do. You know what I mean? I'm just in this place. So, I used to drink a lot, things like that. But I knew getting older, I'm like, this can't be what it is. Like, what's going on? And really, the more I got into it and the more I learned about mental health, I realized how important it was for me to successfully invest in anything else, especially bodybuilding. Because bodybuilding takes a toll on your mental health. Like with the body dysmorphia, with trying to be better than this person, with them beating you now, if you got insecurities, you feel like you nothing. You know what I mean?
Right.
And things like that. So when you actually invest in your mental health, which bodybuilding would made me start doing it and just other outside things, you realize how better it feels to compete and just know I'm good, I'm me, I'm doing everything I can, nothing other stuff matters, and not have that thing in your head making you feel so bad about losing or
Mhm.
just pushing the limits way too far to win, and things like that. But mental health is extremely important to me because I want to be that person that I didn't have. I had to learn this stuff on my own. Nobody taught me this. I had to actually invest in it. Had to take a lot of losses, be in a lot of low places. But now I could be this person that tell people I understand where you're coming from. This is what we can do. This is how you handle it. This is what's going on.
Man, that's dope, man. I totally agree. I feel like, and it's funny because I went to school, for clinical counseling, and it took bodybuilding for me to actually shift my focus back to that.
Hmm.
Because I don't want to say I was removed from it, but it was just like, I'm the type that I try not to apply clinical terms or terminology into my personal life. I feel like sometimes that'll remove like the feeling aspect. And then what I mean by that is like, say if I go through something like, what does the DSM say? Or what does it say that I'm like, I literally try not to do that like in any aspect. But when I noticed that this chase was becoming addicting, it was overtaking me emotionally, it was sabotaging a lot of my, personal relationships. Even one with my wife, I was like, look, you need to get it together
Hmm.
or we gonna have a problem.
Man,
And
I know.
like when you red flags all over, all right, I'm
Yeah,
good. I'm good. Hands
yeah.
up. So once I started noticing that, and she'll say, like, you just go to therapy and talk about it. Like you experienced losses during this. First of all, I got into it because my mom wanted to see me compete, and that was one of like the last wishes before she died. So
Mhm,
that it's not a burden, but that's pressures on me. And then my best friend died 2020 in June. So I'm dealing with loss in the midst of doing all this other stuff, trying to fulfill a promise and all this other stuff. So it's just like, yeah, I probably should have talked to somebody a lot sooner,
mhm.
a whole lot sooner, but better late than never. And now it's just like it's not even a negotiation. It's yeah, even during season, I'll be talking to somebody just
Yeah,
because you got to have a sounding board. My wife cannot be the sounding board all the time.
mhm, yeah.
She like
That's
that
the
does
load on her,
not work. Exactly. So like I totally agree with that, man. So last question for you because you've done 3 pro shows. All right, besides the Olympia, of course, and the Arnold, if you have a comeback show, or if there's one show on your list that says, you know what, this is the show I want to win. I need to, not necessarily your comeback show, but I have this show circled, and I want to win this one before my career is up. What show is that?
I honestly wanna do the I wanna win DC. I was gonna say Tampa, but I wanna win DC because that's closer to
Mm,
home,
it
and I feel
is.
like, yeah, that's the show I
Hey,
wanna.
I got a question about that show. Is it darker than, or is it actually that dark? Because on screen it looks super dark in there.
So
Or
it's
am I
like the
tripping?
entire room is like dark pretty much, but the stage is just like really lit.
Oh, okay.
So
That
it,
makes sense. Because I was like,
yeah.
man, I want to go back to DC, but that's for food reasons, though. I ain't gonna hold you.
Nah, DC got some good food. They
Yeah,
do.
they do. Okay, so you've been to Maryland, right? I'm pretty sure you've been all through the DMV area, right?
Yeah, I've been through. Yeah,
All right, who has the better crab cakes? To tell the truth.
that's crazy because I feel like the only place I actually had crab cakes was a place in Virginia. I think it was called the Boathouse, and I was on prep at this time, so that's really all I was like. I'm willing to eat, but it was really good, and I was like, "Yo,
Bruh.
crazy." This is I don't even know how I still remember that, but I'm like, "This is good."
You got to because it's that fire. I'm gonna tell you something. I went to DC. This was 2017, and I always know it's like a crab cake battle between the DMV. So I had it in DC, and I was like, okay, this was hitting. I had it at this place called Georgia Brown's. Best mac and cheese I ever had in my life.
Okay.
No cap. Ate the crowd. I was like, cool. But then that year I went to Virginia, and I went to oh my gosh, I cannot think of this place. Imma send it to you. And I went and they gave me like one on the side, and then they gave me a crab cake sandwich, and I ate it, and I was like, yeah, Virginia 1-0. I was like, this
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Virginia 1-0, boy. That thing
We
was
got some
hitting.
good burgers too out there. I miss the burgers out there, man. I ain't gonna.
I'm gonna go, man, but you in seafood heaven right now.
I
Like,
know, but I ain't like the greatest seafood fan in the world. So it's like
yeah, you gotta be a fan if
get a
yeah.
burger or some Italian food. You know?
Yeah, you ain't getting none of that in
Yeah.
well, yeah, not in Florida. I don't know what part of Florida you in.
Right now I'm staying in St. Pete, but I'm moving to Tampa because that's where I'm normally at all the time. I'm moving
All
there.
right.
Yeah.
St. Petersburg, they just got a pro show out there, boy, in June. I know you seen it.
I had a client compete at that show.
Word.
Yeah. She was an amateur though, but
Okay.
yeah, I was
Yeah.
there, got to see everybody.
Yeah, they just turned it into a pro men's physique show. I got that one circled too, just in case. I'm gonna have to get out there to Florida, man. There's too many of y'all out there that I want to try to link up with,
And I'm
man.
trying to come out there.
You got to, man. Hopefully, next year when you pull the plug, man, we gotta link up for sure.
Oh yeah,
Just
definitely.
so I'm coming to Florida for sure. Either I'm thinking Miami June 1st,
Okay.
but we'll see though. Like I'm looking at Florida is a state I know I want to hit this year. That I do know. So I'm gonna do like 2 locals, and then I'm gonna try to hit somewhere down that way. So
Okay.
we'll see, man. But
Yeah, let
man,
me know.
my guy Joe in the building. Appreciate you, brother, for being on here, man.
Yeah,
I
no
appreciate
problem,
it.
bro. Thank you for having me, bro. It's been a minute.
You already know. Stay on real quick. We'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.
Today's episode is brought to you by Chulaware, the largest provider of board shorts, bodybuilding trunks, and briefs in the world. Visit their IG at Chula Styles or their website, teamchulafitness.com.